So let me ask you this. Can lemon juice make you invisible? It sounds completely bonkers, right? I mean, if someone walked up to you on the street and asked that, you'd probably laugh in their face. But back in 1995, for a Pittsburgh bank robber named MacArthur Wheeler, the answer to that question was a very serious, very confident yes. He didn't just casually entertain this weird theory. He literally bet his entire freedom on it. And his absolute, unquestioning certainty in this completely flawed idea, well, it's going to serve as our gateway into understanding a psychological phenomenon that actually affects every single one of us. Okay, let's dive into this. Picture it, 1995. MacArthur Wheeler boldly walks into not one, but two Pittsburgh banks in broad daylight. Now, normally bank robbers try to hide their identity, right? But Wheeler didn't wear a ski mask, a nylon stocking, or any disguise at all. Why? Because he firmly believed, I mean truly believed, that rubbing lemon juice all over his face would make him completely invisible to the bank's security cameras. His logic was that since lemon juice is sometimes used as invisible ink, it would work exactly the same way on his face against a camera lens. He even tested this hypothesis before the heist by putting the juice on his face and snapping a Polaroid photo of himself. For reasons that still baffle us today, maybe he aimed the camera wrong, or maybe the film was just bad, he looked at a blank Polaroid and concluded, yup, the invisible ink theory is a total success. Well, unsurprisingly, Wheeler was not, in fact, invisible. The bank robberies were perfectly captured on surveillance, and the police had absolutely zero trouble identifying him. They scooped him up later that very same day. When the detectives brought him in and showed him the crystal clear footage of his face, Wheeler didn't confess, and he didn't even try to make up a quick excuse. Instead, he just stared at the screen in utter, genuine bewilderment and blurted out, "But I wore the juice." He was completely flabbergasted. His confidence in this lemon juice theory was so absolute that the objective reality of the videotape barely even computed in his brain. And that right there brings us to the core of our explainer today. While the story of MacArthur Wheeler is highly comedic and sounds like something straight out of a bad movie script, it actually sparked some very serious scientific inquiry. Psychologists looked at Wheeler's sheer confidence and realized, hey, this isn't just a funny news snippet. This is a profound example of a cognitive blind spot. Wheeler's unwavering belief in a genuinely terrible plan paved the way for the discovery of what we now call the Dunning-Kruger effect. So let's trace how this leap from true crime to formal psychological theory actually happened. The timeline of this discovery is super interesting. The robberies went down in 1995. When news of Wheeler's arrest and his infamous lemon juice defense hit the media, it caught the eye of a psychology professor named David Dunning. He and his graduate student Justin Kruger started wondering, could it be that Wheeler was actually too incompetent to realize he was incompetent? They spent the next few years rigorously testing this idea across a bunch of different domains, like humor, grammar, and logical reasoning. Finally, in 1999, 4 years after the robberies, Dunning and Kruger published their formal academic research, officially giving a name to the invisible force that drove a man to rob a bank wearing nothing but citrus on his face. Let's formally define exactly what they discovered. The Dunning-Kruger effect is a cognitive bias. Basically, it's a tendency where people with lower skill in a very specific area lack the knowledge needed to accurately judge their own competence. The really key phrase to remember here is lack the knowledge. This is the whole heart of the theory. You need a certain baseline of knowledge in a subject to even realize what a good or bad performance looks like. If you don't have that baseline, you literally do not possess the mental tools required to evaluate your own shortcomings. You're flying completely blind, but your brain is telling you that you have 20/20 vision. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is these 4 specific behaviors. According to their 1999 research, people with low ability in a particular skill will consistently do a few things. First, they wildly overestimate how good they actually are. Second, because they don't know the rules of the skill, they totally fail to recognize their own mistakes when they make them. Third, they just kind of assume they perform better than the majority of other people. But that 4th point, that's the most fascinating one to me. As they finally start to gain real knowledge and their skill improves, their self-assessment actually drops. They become much more accurate in judging themselves, simply because they finally see how vast and complex the topic truly is. You know, it's incredibly easy to laugh at our lemon juice bank robber. But the hard truth is, this applies to all of us. This is what we call the illusion of expertise. The Dunning-Kruger effect isn't just about criminals making bad choices. It's a completely everyday phenomenon. Anytime you step into a brand new field, try out a new hobby, or even just read about a complex topic for the very first time, you are highly susceptible to this bias. Because our brains love taking shortcuts, right? A little bit of information can quickly trick us into feeling like we've mastered the subject, simply because we don't yet know enough to see the massive gaps in our own understanding. Let's look at a really practical, everyday example to put this into perspective. Imagine an amateur investor. They've watched maybe a handful of online videos about the stock market, and suddenly they are entirely convinced they have the secret formula to beat seasoned Wall Street pros. Because they don't understand the deep, intricate mechanics of the market, they literally don't realize how much they still don't know. Now contrast that with an experienced investor. The expert is often far more cautious and hesitant to make bold claims. Why? Because years of experience have shown them the sheer complexity and unpredictability of the field. The amateur is blinded by overconfidence, while the expert is humbled by reality. Now, because this concept has become so incredibly popular in mainstream culture over the years, a lot of myths have popped up around it. It's very frequently misused as just a quick, easy insult on the internet. So let's take a quick second to do some myth busting and separate the facts from the fiction so you walk away with a crystal clear understanding of what the science is actually saying. So the crucial point is this: the Dunning-Kruger effect does not mean that unintelligent people are always overconfident. That is a massive misconception. It is not some generalized insult about someone's IQ. It also doesn't mean that true experts always underestimate themselves. What it actually means is highly situational. It simply describes a human tendency. When you have lower skill in a specific area, you lack the knowledge needed to judge your competence in that specific area. A brilliant neurosurgeon could absolutely fall victim to the Dunning-Kruger effect if they suddenly decided they knew everything there is to know about plumbing after watching one YouTube tutorial. It's about a lack of specific knowledge, not a lack of general intelligence. Okay, so now